What's it like to make a large international flight with a baby? Well, I have no idea, so let's find out together. One thing I'm already finding out is it actually seems to be quite beneficial to take a baby along on a trip. One of the things I found out, for starters, is that a baby does not cost as much as a whole human. Rather, a baby, they're only going to charge you 10% of the normal ticket rate for a baby to sit in your lap. So if it's a $1,500 ticket, so to add infant in lap as a not their own seat would only be an additional $150. Already, the baby has been helpful to us in that we were able to skip this huge long line right here and just go straight to the front to lane 15 for ANA, our flight. And they just hustled us through pretty quickly. And I'm also told that in immigration security, we're going to get like a priority lane that we can go to. So let's get that job started. Well, we've made it all the way through security and immigration, so we took this fast track lane, or we were able to take the fast track lane because of the baby, but it ended up being kind of like a slow track lane for security because they seemed confused whether or not I, as a foreigner, could go through with two ties, and they were much more thorough than usual on security, since we were like the only people going through that security line. But then immigration through the fast track lane was extremely quick, and we were again the only people there. We were through it in under 60 seconds, boom, done, and all because of the baby. In the meanwhile, we're just gonna sit down here in these seats, which are generally for people who are pregnant or with babies, and guess what? We have a baby, so we can sit in these nice seats here as well, and I imagine we're going to be one of the first people to board because they like to get the strollers and the infants out of the way pretty early. So we'll let you know how that goes. Incidentally, in case you didn't know, this particular flight is going to start here in Bangkok, and it's going to ultimately end up in Washington, D.C., but it's going to be a 6.5-hour flight to Haneda Airport in Tokyo, and then a 12-hour layover in Tokyo, followed by a 12-hour flight to Chicago, followed by another 2-hour layover and a 2-hour flight to Washington, D.C. So it's going to be almost 36 total hours of traveling. So we have never done anything like that with an infant before, and Saimai has never also traveled quite so long. So we're going to see how it goes. And here we go. Oh, Saimai, you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's long flight.
This one's not so bad. 6.5 hours.
Yeah, it's fun. ขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับ It's an exciting time because now we are going down the walkway to the plane. Very exciting. $20J, okay. Saimai, right here. Okay, ladies first. William's asleep, and the airplane hasn't even taken off yet. Looks like a little doll, right? bumpy. And we're in the air. Sleep tight, William. William is going to sleep now. Baby Bannister is maximum rated at 10 kilos. Well, we've just left the airplane. We were the first ones on and the last ones off. And so here we are at the back of the line, but I don't think it's much of a line because we're just transiting. We're not really having to go through any hardcore immigration to my knowledge. So the first half of the trip was pretty easy. It's only 6.5 hours though. I will say that William seemed pretty uncomfortable in the ANA baby cot because he's used to kind of stretching his arms out and going, you know, just kind of sprawling out everywhere, and he was restrained by the size of the small baby cot, but I guess there's nothing that you can do about that. So, but he slept definitely more than either of us did. Simai and I are pretty tired at this point. The baby is the only one who got any sleep on the 6.5 hour flight, and now it's the daytime. So we were gonna go to the transit hotel, but it's been closed here at Haneda for COVID. So instead we're gonna just stay, which is a priority pass lounge. You can order all kinds of soup and stuff up here, and there's sushi and all kinds of other dishes. Here's the free flow beer, sake, wine, alcohol, and a drink machine. So it's really not a terrible place for the three of us just to rest for the next 12 hours. OMG, 12 hours. It's a nice lounge. It's a little bit crowded. Simai, what do you think of the lounge?
So I can eat things again.
Oh yeah? And what do you think William thinks of the lounge? He's saying, meh, meh. This is just what I just picked up at the buffet. This is, we'll just say apple juice, a little sandwich, German potato bread. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. And this ramen, if it's really good, maybe I'll get some more. So. It is now 12:30, which means we've been here around 7 hours already at this lounge. And I have to say that what would have been a terrible, terrible layover has turned into a very manageable and tolerable layover due to the large of the lounge and the nice seating. And there's plenty of food and drink, such as my my apple juice over there. And here we got William and Simai. Simai is pumping milk, and she has one of these covers that helps her able to do it here in public in complete modesty. And all of us are looking and smelling great because we just got a shower. We were all three able to take showers. You happy to be clean? Are you happy to be clean? Yes. Yes, we are too, because it's been 24 hours since we showered last. So we're just gonna sit here and relax and enjoy watching the airplanes move along. I do want to say as a side note that little William has had the easiest time so far of all of us. He slept more in the airplane than the two of us combined. He doesn't really seem to care where he is. So like he could be in an airport, he could be in a broom closet. He doesn't seem to care. So as a result, he just goes in and out of sleep and sometimes looking around. But the biggest leg of the journey is coming up next. So we're about 2/3 of the way through our really long flight from Bangkok to Chicago on United, and the experience with United has been significantly worse than with ANA for traveling with a baby. I'll show you what I mean. We have here the standard bulkhead attachments for a baby crib, but a gentleman here there at the end against the wall did purchase the seat at the end, and so the airline staff just said, hey, well, because this guy purchased a ticket, your baby can't have a cot. We can't set the cot up if there's 3 people, which I'm just not sure that's true. And so they said, you just have to carry William on your lap for the next 12 hours. And so that's what we're doing. We've been carrying him on our lap for 12 hours. He's been pretty good, but it's still been a real pain. It's been pretty tiresome the whole time. The experience with United definitely not as good as with ANA for sure, especially since it was United who bumped us up to these seats, you know, for purposes of putting a baby cot there. But we'll see how the rest of the flight goes. Well, we finally made it to our destination, which was DCA, or Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. And to be honest, the last half of it was very poor because we had all kinds of problems with United. When we got onto the United flight, they just declined to give us the baby cot, even though we had made reservations with United to be at one of the bulkhead seats that has a baby cot, because it was an almost 12-hour flight. And they just simply declined to give it to us. They just decided they didn't want to give us a baby cot. And they looked like they didn't even know how to mount it, even if they were going to do it. And so they just seemed irritated at us for even asking. So we had to hold the baby on the lap for 12 whole hours, and that's a long time to put a baby on your lap, believe me. So it was pretty uncomfortable. Another issue we had is that all throughout the course of the flights that we did have, there were and I'm not exaggerating here, there were very few instances where I interacted with a United agent or United stewardess or just anyone in United where they didn't act like we were an irritant and an annoyance, rather than someone who was paying their airline to provide us with a service. And I'm always very polite to people, even when they're not polite to me, particularly customer service people. But it was hard to talk to anyone without hearing that tone of annoyance or irritance in their voice, and it was nonstop. So, how was it to fly with a baby on a long trip? So, here's what I would say. I would say that in my experience that I had here, it's actually not any more difficult or not significantly more difficult than going without a baby, unless you're on United. Bangkok Airways from Phnom Penh to Bangkok was fantastic. ANA was fantastic. as long as your airline is good, I don't see what the big fuss is about when it comes to traveling with a baby. It's actually quite simple and quite easy and usually fairly convenient. So it's my suggestion that if you want to travel with a baby, just go ahead and do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be posting a lot more videos soon. Have a great day.